Hey, it's Brooklyn Lou the Skeptic, former evangelical, now turned atheist. And I like to have a lot of fun. Right? Some of my videos are just meant to be fun, but I also like to talk about serious issues in America. And today is one of those. All right. We like to give religion a pass at it as well. It's doing so much good for people. So even if they believe crazy things, so what? All right. And that's true to a point. But a very serious thing is going on in America. And it's a mental disorder. And today I wanted to talk about that. And it's called religious trauma. And it's really dead serious. Okay. All right. Now, religious trauma is a systemic experience between a person and their religion as a whole. You see, it's the religion as a whole, the institution. And it results from an event or a series of events, relationships, or circumstances within or connected to religious beliefs, practices, or structures that is experienced by an individual as overwhelming or disruptive. And this has lasting adverse effects on a person's physical, mental, social, and emotional well-being. It's a serious thing. I think we all agree that this is not a good thing. It's a bad thing. Now, a study was done by the Global Center for Religious Research in 2023. And it was published in a peer-reviewed journal called the Socio-Historical Examination of Religion and Ministry. What they did is they compiled data from 1,581 adults living in the United States, results that showed that around 1/3 of American adults have experienced religious trauma at some point in their lives. Now, it also concluded that as many as 1 in 5, that's 20% of US adults presently suffer from major religious trauma symptoms. That's serious. 20% of Americans. And what does it all mean? Right? How does this happen? Well, I want to tell you how it happens. See, people go to religious institutions that they trust, and they're brainwashed. They're put in a mind control environment. And this environment instills fear of being told that you're no good and worthless without God. You have no value without God. Let that sink in. They use gaslighting. They do not allow people to make decisions for themselves. If you're experiencing this in church, beware. Isolation, all right? Having relationships only with people who are part of the organization. Wanting to associate only with those Christian church members. It's also patriarchal. This is something very important. Many churches, they treat women, children, and other marginalized people as subservient, right, to the wise elders, usually men, by the way. All right, there's dynamics of power at play. You see, select holy people get to say what is right for you. If you're not in leadership, In order to follow God, you must submit to the authority. Right? You must submit. You must break down your will and give it over to an authority figure, whether that be God, the Bible, or a pastor. And this gradually grows to the point where people no longer think for themselves. They become like zombies. I see it all the time. Right? People are unable of critical thinking. So this is how they do it to people and how they victimize people through this type of mind control. Now, what are the symptoms that you may be a victim of this type of religious trauma? Well, number one, you may be confused. Number two, you may have shame. You may blame and shame yourself if you have different beliefs or if you question what the group believes. You have a fear of death. You might fear the devil and hell, and this might really scare you. You need to know that none of that's real. But of course, when you're a believer, you do believe in these things. You can have decreased self-worth. Remember, you are nothing without God. Right? You might experience a loss of agency. That is feeling you're not in control of your own life. This, I know I felt when I was an evangelical. God was in control. I didn't have any control or agency in my own life. I gave that over to the religion. You're constantly judging yourself, wondering whether you're good enough. You may feel disassociated from your body. I know this feeling as well. You know, the whole spirit versus the flesh thing in Christianity. You know, you don't want to be in the flesh. You want to be in the spirit. So you're disassociating yourself from your own body. You might lose your critical thinking skills. And we see this all the time. Oftentimes, religious people, they just don't know how to analyze a situation critically. Okay? You might have trouble making decisions. And the reason that is because the religion is telling you that you're not capable of making decisions for yourself. So you got to consult with either the God, the Bible, or a religious authority. This is awful. You might have trouble making relationships and building them outside of the religion. You see, you might see people who have a different belief as being an enemy, right? And that certainly is not healthy. And you might have anxiety and depression. All right. I have experienced all of these things. All right. But we have to learn how to get out of this. All right. Now, do I think all churches victimize people like this? No, I don't. I think there are many high control churches that do, but not all. And do I think all religious people will suffer mental issues like this? Nope, again. But when studies show that 1/5 to 1/3 of all the people in America will suffer from this type of religious trauma, this is a very serious issue. It is not one to be ignored. It's an epidemic that must be treated. It's contagious and toxic. And it's a type of mind virus that needs to be immunized. It is a very important thing impacting our country and the people in our country. Now, how do we go about immunizing ourselves from this type of religious mind control and trauma that is very real? Well, we do it in a number of ways. Okay, number one, we trust in our ability to work things out for ourselves. We give ourselves permission to trust in our own judgment. Number two, we critically think about what we believe, truly think about what we believe and why we believe it. Number three, we do not submit to peer pressure and manipulation. We learn how to be independent and autonomous. We develop our self-esteem, and we learn how to be comfortable within our own skin. We are enough. We do not need the validation of a religious organization or of some imaginary being in the sky. Right? We don't need that. We could develop our own self-esteem. We can feel comfortable. And we need to take responsibility for our actions. All right. It is us who make our own decisions. And we could do so responsibly, considering the well-being of not only ourselves, but others. None of this requires a God or belief in a God. But if you choose to believe in a God, that's okay too. But understand what's going on in our country, this type of brainwashing and manipulation. It's got to stop. All right. So if there are people out there that want to know more about deconstructing from religion and doing it that way, going in a different direction and creating mental stability on our own, okay, please subscribe to my videos, because these are the types of things that we talk about here. And share my videos, if you would, with others, so that if they might be in a situation where they're going through a hard time and they're struggling to get out from oppression, from a religion that has dominated their thoughts and their lives, maybe since they're little, maybe they were indoctrinated as a child, but now they're questioning it. Share my videos and subscribe so we can go on a journey to have true joy and peace without God. Have a good one, guys.